Hello, hello. We are back.
Hello, hello.
We're about to go live with the first round of rounds, really. I'm not sure if
Yep.
the map order has already been done. But right now it's looking like we're starting on rag. At least players are warming up on rag. And while they are doing so, let's talk about how this is going to work a bit, for a bit. Since not all of you may be familiar with the format we're playing in. Rounds basically means that all players will start at the exact same time and try to finish, and they will get points dependent on what position they finished in. So pretty simple concept. Points distribution, as far as I know, will be like first player gets a certain amount of points, and second player gets 1 point less, and so on and so on. I'm assuming it's 1 point per player in play, so everyone can grab some points. Right now we are 36 players. I know there's not 36 players, 36 people on the server.
32.
Yeah, we should be 32 players. So first guy will get 32 points, second guy 31, third guy 30, and so on. And at the end, the top 16 will advance to the next round, where we will basically repeat that system, but only with 60 players.
Pretty much it.
And my chat is gone again. Here we go.
So it's 4 rounds per map, giving players 4 opportunities to go for that coveted 32-point gain in first place. And then once the the 3 maps have been played and all the rounds are done, the top 16 will continue on to the semifinals.
Exactly. And then the one thing that changes for the grand finals, where the top 8 will play, is we're not going to play in rounds mode, but in cup mode. We will explain what exactly that means later. It's like a slightly different system. Play in rounds too, but different points distribution, basically.
Right now we're just watching players warm up. I believe we've warmed up on 1 map already, and then Rock is the second map, so we might have one more set of warm-ups on the last map.
Yeah, that
Syrup,
would make
I
sense.
believe. And then we'll probably get into the live rounds, see how these players compete.
What we could do, because it's going to be quite difficult to follow everyone. There's still 32 players in play. It's going to be very hard to keep an overview. So if you guys in chat have a particular guy you really want to see driving for 1 or 2 rounds, you could just mention that, and then we will try to watch the player in question the next round. That will not always be possible, depending on how many requests we get. We will try to take turns looking at people at the front, people at the back, people middle of the pack. And we hope that will work out very well, but if we miss certain players a lot, and we haven't seen them in the screen at all yet, you can gladly point that out. We will try to change that. We will not be able to live up to every request, though, of course, because it's 32 players after all, and we don't have that many rounds.
You have our first request, I believe, is Super Luminal.
We can watch
Someone also says
warm-up
to
request.
Jinx Ox. Very good.
Yeah,
I'll make sure to do that.
Just spec Ox every single round to jinx him. Poor Ox.
Guaranteed.
Ox will make top 16 even if we jinx him 24/7.
True. You never know. I mean, they only have 4 rounds per map, so if you do make mistakes, it will cost you pretty heavily.
Yeah, that's true. Like with a points system like this, single round mistakes have a particularly big impact, because you cannot just gain back a bunch of points with the first place, because the other people will finish, and at best you will gain like 1, 2, 3, 4 points on the other top players. So if you like DNF, you lose a shitload of points.
As per usual, DNFing is looked down upon,
Yep.
rightly so. Gotta finish, gotta keep going. I think that's a big thing about certain competitions, is being able to make a slight mistake and then refocus your mind and come back and do the rest of the map as clean as possible from that point on, because sometimes that is the difference maker. Players sometimes are quick to, have a mental hiccup and then not get back on track, and they'll make 1 or 2 more mistakes, and that might just cost them you know, the points that they need to qualify for the semifinals. So
and then you can
we'll see how the players do here.
Yeah, then you can easily snowball into like a bad mental state where you take too many risks in order to catch back up what you just lost and
For
stuff
sure.
like that.
Every time I see the what are we calling it? The Jefferson?
Double
I
twister.
think. Yeah, unbelievable. You know, it's a Firefox-ism, if you will. And every time I see players drive it, I'm just like, oh my goodness, this is
It's
not
actually-
some normal architecture.
Yeah, but it's actually easier to drive than it looks once you like. If you get the correct entry point, you kind of don't need to steer.
That's
You
true.
do some correction steering, and sometimes you can SD in it, and you steer because of that. But if you get the correct lineup in these things, you don't need to do anything. It's all about getting the right timing at the entrance. And yeah, as I think Lordy just pointed out in chat, we will play 12 rounds total, 4 maps each map. And if the points repetition is like 32 for first, and then 1 less for each player following, DNFing is indeed pretty much a no-go for people. People will have to go safe. Like,
Right.
you cannot risk. It's way too risky to risk, basically. Because you lose out on too much. You lose out on stuff you cannot recover in this format. Ooh. Apparently you see D just lost his internet connection. Let's hope he can get back in time so we can get started without him missing out on the tournament. Looks like map order will be Chill Day, Syrup, and Rag lastly, unless we're gonna mix up the order again like we did the first time out.
Looks like CD's having internet issues. Sad to see. Strong player. Hopefully they can fix those issues quickly. But if not, that would be disappointing.
Yeah, it would be really annoying for him. Don't want to see that. It's currently just warm-up rounds up. We're just
here we go.
watching
It's actually
players chill at warm-up.
it's live after warm-up, so
Okay.
we're getting very close to the start.
Yeah, one more. It's one warm-up, right?
Yes.
I just got confused because in the chat it says 2 out of 1 warm-ups. I was like, ah?
Yeah. Nadeo, Cody.
It's just a script, I think.
That was. Sorry,
I'm not entirely sure how it works. Don't take my word for it. And yeah,
So some of the transitions here are really interesting. Like at the start of Chill Day, there's some would you call it a ramp cut with that little platform ramp, and then you have to jump off to the side to the left to avoid airtime. So a lot of little intricacies to maximize the pace for these players, although it's not safe at all. You just have to get that line down and be consistent with it.
sorry, I'm not laughing at your description. I'm laughing at legend in chat. Well, apparently, Tortellini
is
are
quite
more important than this tournament. But let's not talk about Tortellini for too much longer, as we're going live with the first round. Let's stick with someone I'm assuming who's going to do reasonably well, but he won't be all the way at the front, at least looking at the time attack. Let's stick with Dave for the first round. Off to a good start by getting a little much airtime here in this transition, losing some speed compared to the leading pack. That is currently led by Max, and there is way too many cars so I can even see anything. Let me actually turn off names. Yeah, currently we have... Okay, this is kind of pointless. we just have to get used to playing with that many names on, I guess.
Right.
Because otherwise the casting this is really hard. Dave has fallen back a little bit, while at the front we have Vera actually doing really well. Let's have a look at him for the last few turns. Chroma and Mada leading the pack, chased by Max, who might actually snipe them. He seems to have more speed actually. Mada kept the most speed and will snipe first place off Chroma, followed by Max, Kirill, Vera, who lost a couple places here, but still really solid round for him. Moose, Orcs, and Edwin. Well, at the back we had Echo and Flashtube this round.
Right. Second round is starting, so Mada at the top of the pack right now. Gonna see who gets a good start here. I'm still looking at Dave here, but Chroma pushing the front here, followed by Max. getting a good entry into the cake wall. Now the regular wall. This transition is a little risky. Some people clipping there. Still in the lead here. Link now making a run for the front of the pack. Although Max out ahead. Will anyone be able to catch up here? It does seem like Mutta doing a classic Mutta-ism, getting insane speed in the middle of the map and pulling out way ahead here. Link right behind the last few speed drifts here into the wall. And now the risky, will he finish clean? Yes, he does.
He does
Nice
indeed,
job.
but we see a bunch of players actually missing the finish. Dave, with a bit of an unfortunate respawn, he will continuously miss the finish, and he fails to full reset. Oh, we're in the wrong scene. Thank you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you guys. The classic, Dan. Sorry. I just mentioned it before we started that I'm supposed to not forget to swap scenes again.
We're just so interested in the gameplay, it's hard to remember. Here we go for the third round now.
Yeah, we just had a look at the front of the pack. Let's have a look at the people a little further back. FlashTube not having too much of an impact so far, but off to a decent start here. Within reasonable distance to the front. Actually getting good transitions here, as we see players dropping left and right, actually missing the transitions. There will be a couple people that have to respawn here. FlashTube actually having good speed. FlashTube is not a good person to lead the back of the pack this round, as he's actually contesting top 10 right now. Gets an awkward line here, won't have the best exit speed, and will be overtaken by Kyril. Let's swap players. As we see, Bostich currently at pretty much the back of the pack in 24th position. Gets an awkward exit here and will lose speed and will be overtaken by Kanter. As Link wins the round, Kanter taking the safe win, securing a couple important points, coming home in 23rd. Link coming in first with a reasonable time, 57.3. Mutta with a 0.4, followed by Max, Kyril, FlashTube, and Raven.
Good round there by Link, holding the lead ahead of Mutta. Obviously, Mutta's in the top of the pack with 95 points. Can he win another round? Well, we will see. The first few obstacles here into the first few SDs, leading into our first cakewall transition. It's always interesting to see which players get the best speed out of these transitions, as they are a little bit risky. Oh, some clipping happening here. Chroma in the front.
Link.
Oh, Link clipping. Max following the leader. Oh, a little jump there from FlashTube. He's crashed out. We're going to take a look at Acid in the middle of the pack. Chroma, Max, and Mutta fighting for the top 3 spots. Right behind you have CD. Ox in the middle of the pack here with Moose. A lot of strong players, but the top 3 are pulling ahead at the end of this map here. Going for the risky, will they make it? Yes, they do. Mutta yet again in the lead for the 4th round of Chill Day. And that securely puts him in #1 spot here.
Mutta is popping off right now. Looks like the practice, a little bit of practice he put in yesterday was plenty sufficient for him.
Absolutely.
Did he win all 4 rounds or just 3? I'm not
Just
sure.
3. I think
just 3. Okay.
Link won the other round.
Yeah, that's possible.
Pretty sure.
But actually doing really, really well. Showing off he hasn't lost any of his full speed skills whatsoever during his, Grand League adventure.
Right. All right, warm up for Syrup. Right into the next map here.
Actually, Dave DNF 2 rounds, right? Let's look where he is in points. Okay, he's still doing reasonably well since he got really good points the 2 rounds he finished. But yet you really do not want to DNF. Like, if you're in Dave's situation there, you probably even want a full respawn. Like, you don't want to take the fast respawn, you want a full respawn and just, like, really go really, really slowly into the safe win. That's still a lot better than DNFing. But yeah, the safe win was not an option for Dave, it seems.
Yeah, some of these obviously full speed without double respawns. There are a lot of opportunities to get fully crashed out and be unable to continue due to an insufficient amount of speed. If you're lucky, you crash out near the end of the map where the safe finish is actually reachable, but that's not always the case. So here we go. First warm-up done. Second map, here we go.
Let's stick with Acid for starters, who we've just seen warming up. Off to a decent start. Not getting the tightest of all lines, but he's within reach of the top spots, as we already see the first few players dropping out on the left there. Chroma off to the best start, pulling away a little bit, but everyone else keeping good pace. Acid still good speed. Has maneuvered his way back into the top 5 currently, but is surpassed by Link, who kept really good speed. Let's check out if Link can actually overtake the leading players of Kirill and Ox currently too. But it looks like Link has not been able to capitalize off his extra speed and is now even in speed with Kirill and Ox. He might be able to snap Ox, as we see Acid actually sticking his nose back into the picture, overtaking all of the players mentioned, as we see Link making a huge mistake, trying to go too tight, hitting the pole and losing out on some possibly important points here. And as a result, it's Kirill winning the round ahead of Acid and Mada, who sniped pretty much everyone else in the picture. Ox getting a bit pretty awkward and they're losing a lot of time.
You know, that pack in the front really looking very strong. Everyone seems to be keeping very good pace here. Let's see who comes out of this start with the most. We have Flash Tube, Chroma. Here we go into the first obstacle. The SDs out are very important. If you miss any of these, you're probably going to fall far behind. So all these players focusing very heavily on making sure they hit all these correctly. Seems that we have Chrome in the front, followed by Max, following Willie right now, who's in the middle of the pack. The classic FullSpeed legends in the front. Chroma now overtaking, it seems. Getting extra speed out of that tube exit into the wall now. Although Max still leading, does take the round there. Nice time by Max.
Yeah, Chroma and Kirill not quite able to snipe Max, who puts in, I think, the best time of the map so far. Yep, leading the
Seems like
locals. Super Max. We have another Super Max. It's just so, we already see people clipping on the inside in the very first turn, and oh my, it's actually quite enjoyable. I feel like on somebody middle of the pack and you just see people dropping out left and right. You cannot tell who it is, but there's just cars missing suddenly. Tundil is off to the best start, as I'm Pipega talking, chased by Mada, while Link and Acid are trailing a little bit. And so is Ox, and so is Chroma, who has been leading the last few rounds, at least in the start usually. Let's have a look at Vera, or Kaspera. I'm still not quite sure what I'm supposed to call him. I would just say both for now, as he is chasing the leading pack right now. While Ox seems to have gotten the better of Mada here, but Mada has a little bit more speed and might be able to snipe him, but it looks, and he will indeed snipe for first place, popping in the second best time so far. Just about getting past Ox, while Chroma and Acid follow a respectable distance of 0.2.
Yeah, these finishes are so tight. These players are right on pace with each other. It makes for very exciting rounds. It's hard to tell exactly who's going to win until the last few turns, and you can see the speed differential. But it all comes from, you know, every little point of this map is being optimized for speed. And you can see the players trying to hold their SDs. Very nice here from Vera, following Chroma now with Mudda right next to him. Chroma almost consistently in the front here on Syrup. And it comes down to these big, long SDs. Some people avoiding the plastic, some people taking it. Seems like the plastic avoiders have gotten more out of it this round. And Mudda slowly creeping up to the behind Chroma here. How will these last few turns fare? Coming out of the tube now into the wall. It's very close. Kirill in third. Who will take this first place? It is. Was that Link? Max?
Actually,
having
Mudda.
trouble telling.
It was actually Mudda.
Oh my goodness.
Mudda sniping everyone else with a super inside line, just about not clipping the bowl and sniping first place yet again. But I'm a bit confused by what Chroma's doing, because he's not only consistently off to the best starts, he is off to the best starts by like almost 0.15 every round. But he doesn't seem to have the roller coaster section quite figured out yet, because he loses speed to Mada, Link, and Ox as well in that section, and then ends up being sniped at the finish. But
these rounds are so competitive.
Yep, indeed. But it will not matter now as we move on to a completely different map, where Chroma hopefully doesn't end up getting sniped for the 4 rounds.
Up Max taking the lead. This may or may not be indicative of the upcoming rounds, but right now you can see the pack moving through. CD actually having a really good warm up here, keeping pace with the top performers right here.
As we're now moving on to the last map, let's actually not look at the front most of the time. Let's look at the middle of the pack, where we will have the decision who is advancing made. And we currently have Magic in the last qualifying position, just ahead of Dave, who lost a lot of points by DNFing twice. So Dave is looking to make up for his previous mistakes and is going to look to get back into top 16 here. Wille is also still in contest, and so is Slag. I'd argue Vada is also a little bit too far behind, and so is I got some. Like Vada and Robin, I got some Robin by the way. Could pull it, but it's going to be really difficult. So we're most likely going to have a decision between Wille, Dave, Magic, Raven, Aito, and CD, who are all still within reason of each other.
Right. Yeah, these top 16 slots are highly contested. The players at this level are very close to each other, so it's going to be hard to stand out from the pack with these times. But you just have to push and hope that you can stay on track, not DNF, and get all the points you can. And Dave did end up crashing there.
Yep, but it's just warm-up. Getting all the crashes out of the way in warm-up.
Oh no, that was warm-up. Okay, good.
Yeah, we should be going live with the first round now.
No, Athel says it's not warm-up.
It was first round. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was first round.
I just treated it as warm-up. I was just watching and listening to you talk. Good job. You
got this.
Okay, so yeah, so they're crashing out and losing out on important points. So let's have a look at the second contender that might still snap top 16 in Wille, who's off to a great start, keeping up with the leading pack, losing out on a bit of speed here and going really wide, but still in a good position to gain some points. Now let's see how his main competitor is doing. Magic actually not off to a good start, trailing the pack by a lot. So Wille can gain very important points here if he manages to slot in the top 10 position. It's not looking too bad. His line here not ideal though, might lose out on further positions, but it looks like no one behind him did it a lot better. Instead, Wille actually getting a lot of speed, sniping 2 more players and scoring a top 6. And that might already move him ahead of Magic.
Let's see how this point distribution goes, but yeah, he had a beautiful ending there and gained himself some position. There he goes into 16th place. Now
Dave
Magic
actually also overtaking Magic.
Right. Let's take a look at Magic, because Magic now needs to reclaim this spot. He's going to have a lot of pressure on him to perform this round and obviously the ensuing rounds, but right now is when you need to make the difference. Every round is just as important as the last. So here we go. Pack moving on through the first wall ride. These SDs are crucial to keeping your place here. The first super wide SD around this turn here up into the tube. Maybe not the best line for Magic here. Doesn't get the full breadth of that speed. And the pack is moving on without him. Will Wille continue his lead and stay in the top 16 spot? Let's take a look at him. No, he's actually behind. He also made a mistake, so a lot of mistakes from the midfield here. It's going to be difficult to determine who is actually coming out on top here for this round. Although we did get a great time by Kirill. It's a 52.9 in rounds.
Yep. We've had 3.9s by the looks so far. By Kirill, Mada, and Lincoln. Dave actually got home in 17th, gaining important points as well, and he's now only 1 point behind Wille, making this a very, very exciting last round. Like, Wille, Dave, and Magic are all very much within reach of each other. It's only 6 places difference in points. With Dave making a crucial mistake here, losing out on grip and having some airtime, he will not be the one making a difference here. See if Wille is doing any better, and he is indeed. He's not in the best spot, but should definitely be ahead of Dave. While Magic is pretty far back on the back. So if Wille can keep this up and doesn't make any major mistake here in the end, he will be the one advancing to the next round.
Well, we've seen
Currently,
has had amazing endings here, so
we're only on the second round. There's still room for people to take back the position.
True, true. There it is.
Yeah. And Wille will keep his 16th spot.
All right, so if he can keep it throughout one more game here. There it is. I mean, Mutta.
Popping up. I don't think he made a single mistake yet. A single major mistake. He's sitting at 374 points, won like roughly 50% of the rounds, and got home in top 5 in all the remaining ones, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, NopeDK in the chat with an amazing statistic here. 374 points out of 384.
Yeah,
that is astoundingly good.
Mutta just proving how consistent he is again and again.
He's got that, yeah, that TMGL experience, that consistency you need for that high of a level of play, and he's showing it off right here on top of his already very well-known full speed skill.
Yep, but looking...
Oh wait, was that the third game? That was the third game. That was the third game.
Oh god, I'm so confused. Jesus.
Wait, so, you know, it
happens. Yeah, so it is.
There it is. Willie made the top 16.
Willie moving on, and Dave dropping out due to too much airtime in the very last round.
So GG's to all the players who did not make the top 16 cut. It was a good performance, very close near that top 16 slot, and those will be moving on.
Indeed, very good effort by everyone involved here. Legendary FS player, not so legendary FS caster.
Well, GG for that round. The quarterfinals is now done, and we're gonna have a 10-minute short pause here before the semifinals. So stick around, guys.
Okay, ready.
We'll be right back.
Starts at 16:50, so like 9 minutes. Yeah, so I'll put you to a pause screen so we can recover for a minute, and then we will be back like 2 minutes before to introduce you to the players involved. Later.